products, not just resid, but distillate, light distillates, ultra-low sulfur diesel, gasoline. Tanking capacity in those markets is being expanded. Logistical links with the East Coast are being created to connect directly to facilities in New York Harbor in particular. And this is interesting but challenging because we can't really, there's not so much transparency about what's going on in the Caribbean, for instance. It's emerging as a major trading center, as a major terminal center where cargoes can be put together or can be broken up for shipping or for distribution, and that's likely going to be very important. Canadian crude might end up being stored in St. Lucia or the Bahamas for export then to Asia or elsewhere. But even as the Caribbean is becoming increasingly integrated with the U.S. market, we do not have the type of data collection in the Caribbean that we have in the U.S. So it's a bit of a black box in terms of inventory levels, changes in stocks, and so on. And that creates all kinds of challenges for market participants and for policymakers.
I'm not sure if you noticed last week the U.S. rail industry requested that the government impose tougher safety standards on tank cars that carry crude. Do you think that is a necessary, needed step?
Well, yeah, I think it's expected as the sector becomes, as oil transport by rail becomes more and more important. I think it's expected that the safety standards for that become tightened and codified and more transparent. So that's it sounds to me like it's a step in the right direction, but also something that intuitively makes sense as you know, the volumes of oil transported by rail really become very large.
Please.
Yes. Anthony, when you were here last, we had talked about demand increasing by about 0.8% per year. And that was kind of the anticipated level. BP's there as well. Now you see some months here in your chart where we were above 2% for some of the quarters, right? And oil prices didn't collapse. Brent didn't collapse. It hung in there. Now you're calling for 1.8 million barrels of increased production in the coming year. The EIA is calling for about 1.9 million. So if we look at this, do we anticipate that oil prices will collapse, or do we anticipate that they will not collapse? And I'd add just a little addendum for you. In the last 3